Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to today's webinar, Case Study on How Tower Health Streamlined its Job Description Process with JDMS, a job description management system, and an SAP SuccessFactors, hosted by SAPinsider and presented by SAP. I'm Brittany McKeon from SAPinsider, and I will be your moderator today. Just a few announcements before we begin. This webinar is designed to be interactive between you and the presenters. Later in the program, we will ask for your feedback. You can participate in the Q&A session by asking questions about the information presented in this webinar at any time. Just type your question into the Q&A text box located to the right of the slide window and click Submit. We will answer as many questions as time permits after the presentation. The slides will advance automatically throughout the event. You can also download a PDF copy of the presentation by clicking in the resources in the bottom right of your console. You'll also find links to upcoming SAPinsider webinars, as well as other resources related to this topic. At this time, we recommend you disable your pop-up blockers. Later in this presentation, there will be a live demo. This will display in your media player. If you're experiencing any technical health problems, please visit our webinar help guide by clicking on the help !mark icon in the bottom right of your console. If slides are not advancing, please press F5 on your keyboard to refresh. Now let's begin with today's presentation. To kick things off today, we have Rajiv Nima from SAP. Over to you, Rajiv.
All right. Thank you, Brittany. Hi, everyone. I'm Rajiv Nima, Senior Director of Marketing and Partner Relations for SAP App Center. Welcome to our webinar series. Today, we are proudly featuring one of our esteemed and successful partners, HRIZONS, in the human resources space, and one of their key customers, Tower Health, in the healthcare space. And the focus of today's presentation is streamlining recruiting and job descriptions, especially when you are a large organization. It can be chaotic if you don't put processes in place, and potentially there are compliance issues. So as Brittany said, let's make it very interactive, ask questions and answers, keep plugging them in, and we will have a very engaging conversation from our two guest speakers. Today's talk will include topics like why companies need a job description solution to begin with. What are its benefits? How does it work? How does it integrate with SAP SuccessFactors solution? And for our customer speaker, Tower Health, what has been their transformation journey like from before using the solution to after the solution? But before I give the floor to our guest, a word or two, I would like to talk about SAP's App Center. SAP App Center is where our partners and customers meet. It is a true e-commerce marketplace. The way I tell the easiest way to think about it is an Amazon.com for enterprise solutions. The marketplace is on the marketplace URL is on my slide, sapappcenter.com, CENTER.com. We have more than 1,500 solutions from more than 1,000 partners covering all lines of businesses that SAP does business in, whether it is customer experience, analytics, SuccessFactors, the one which we are going to hear about today, S4HANA, Ariba, Fieldglass, and so on and so forth. Here, partners can publish their applications for free and grow their market. And you, as a customer, you can discover, try, and buy any solutions you want in purely self-service manner. And you see all the benefits which a normal digital marketplace will enable, like quickly finding the solution which cover the white spaces in the SAP solution which you have implemented, or quicker time to value. That's the very obvious one. And very simplified partner engagement. You find a solution and you contact the partner, and then you go on from there. And then we will hear from Tower Health how they discovered HRIZONS and what was their journey like. So with that, let's talk about today's presenters and today's topic. Let me introduce. We'll have two speakers. First, we'll hear from Colin Houghton, who is in charge of product enablement at HRIZONS. And then we'll hear from the practitioner of the solution, Tina Kilini-Batten, who is an HR operations manager at Tower Health. So with that, take it away, Colin.
Thank you very much, Rajiv, and hello, everyone. I'm happy to have this opportunity to tell you about our JDMS solution and our partnership with SAP SuccessFactors to make JDMS available to you in the SAP App Center. My name is Colin, and as Rajiv mentioned, I'm part of the product enablement team here at HRIZONS. A little bit of background, HRIZONS is an SAP SuccessFactors Gold partner. We've been working with SuccessFactors, providing implementation consulting services for all of the SuccessFactors modules for over 13 years now. But in addition to our consulting services, HRIZONS is a software company. And we now have 3 unique solutions. Today I'm going to be focusing on JDMS. So JDMS stands for Job Descriptions Made Simple. JDMS is much more than just a job repository or a tool to help you create your job descriptions. JDMS is really a jobs management system. It will help you to ensure that you have the proper controls and governance over all of your job descriptions through tools like workflows, version control, change logs, and standardized content libraries. Now, as you're going to hear from Tina Acalini at Tower later in this presentation, the JDMS system can help you significantly reduce the time to create and manage your job descriptions, and that can result in as much as 2 times ROI. I hope that our presentation today, coupled with Tina's story, will impress upon you the breadth, depth, and the value of the JDMS system. You know, in the ever-changing landscape of your business, accompanied by the changes in job requirements, having a reactive and dynamic system is needed to deliver the quality, consistency, and legally defensible content needed for both your hiring activities and your employee management. We were just speaking a little bit prior to this about what's going on in our world with the coronavirus situation and how that can have a direct effect on your hiring needs and changing of your job descriptions as a result of people, for example, needing to perhaps work from home on an ongoing basis. Now, you're going to appreciate the fact that as an SAP SuccessFactors customer, JDMS is fully integrated with SuccessFactors modules and augments those modules even with additional value. Our integrations with SuccessFactors include, first, single sign-on so that your job editors, devisers, and your job approvers can access the JDMS application directly from within SuccessFactors without having to log in again into a separate system. Now, using a number of approved data sharing methods, including APIs and nightly data feeds using SFTP, we replicate the JDMS created job descriptions directly into your SuccessFactors system. Depending on whether you use families and roles or job profile builders, those job descriptions are automatically populated and updated on a nightly basis, and therefore become available to all of the SuccessFactors modules that present job descriptions or competency information. You know, at HRIZONS, we're constantly finding ways to provide additional value via our integration with SuccessFactors. As an example, one of our largest customers had a third-party HRIS system, but was using SuccessFactors and found that they had to manually manage the job code entities and job role tagging that they were using, which was critical for their recruiting processes using SuccessFactors. We were able to leverage the JDMS job content transformation and export capabilities to automate one of the data requirements and to generate and auto-email a fully formatted file. So the combination of those 2 improvements saved that customer countless hours, and never mind the headaches. In other words, even though we are a cloud-based business, HRIZONS is very reactive to our customers' needs and always looking for ways to improve our partnership with both our customers and with SuccessFactors. And speaking of value add, you're going to see how the integration of JDMS with SuccessFactors opens an opportunity for both your employees and managers to quickly review their own job descriptions and those of their team, and even to explore all of the jobs in the system defined for your company. Everything in one place and accessible with the touch of a tile from the SuccessFactors homepage. Let's talk a little bit for a moment about some of the business drivers. Again, later you're going to hear from Tina about the types of challenges that Tower Health faced. Across our customer base, we hear that the issues that they solved were things like, well, basically how difficult it is to administer jobs when they're maintained manually in Word documents and perhaps stored in a variety of different systems like SharePoint. Importantly, the need to ensure consistency and accuracy for compliance requirements. The need to mitigate regulatory and legal risks due to out-of-date, incomplete, or inaccurate job descriptions. Ensuring that job descriptions are standardized across multiple divisions or business units. Consolidating job descriptions, for example, after an acquisition. And of course, aligning their job descriptions into the SuccessFactors system so that they can be leveraged for purposes like recruiting, career development, succession, performance, and learning. In short, JDMS addresses these business drivers. It's highly scalable. It supports customers in the range of size from 1,000 to 400,000 plus employees. Your SAP SuccessFactors system may support multiple languages for your end users. You'll be happy to know that we can present the JDMS jobs in your SuccessFactors systems in your users' own native languages. And you might be excited to see how easy it is to do the translations in JDMS. It uses what we call our Quick Translate feature. We leverage Microsoft Cognitive Services to take a first pass at the job description translation and then provide subsequent editing capabilities for your translator or your translation coordinators. I'm going to show you that in the following demonstration. So let's go and take a look at a demonstration now. You should be able to see the home page of the SuccessFactors system. I've logged in as a manager named Christine Dolan, whose job title is that of executive management. Now, all employees have access to their own job description via this custom tile that's been added to the SuccessFactors homepage. Clicking on this custom tile causes a link to JDMS, passes the user's job code, and JDMS will return the most recently approved version of the job description associated with Christine's job code. If the job has been translated and the user's default SuccessFactors language is not English, then JDMS will simply provide the job directly in that language. Now, because Christine is a manager, she has access to the My Teams tab, where she is presented with a list of her direct reports. From here, Christine, let's wait for that team to load there. Christine can then basically review the job description of any one of her reporting employees. Perhaps Christine is sitting here with Lauren and they're having a discussion about what the expectations are from Lauren based on this job description. Now, if enabled for your implementation, if you want to expose all of the jobs to your employees or to your managers, we have the Explore Jobs feature. And Explore Jobs basically gives them access to all of the approved job descriptions in the JDMS database. Now, of course, those same jobs will not only be presented here, but they would also, if you're using them, have been integrated with your families and roles or your job profile builder. Now, whereas in the past, your managers and your employees may have had to research different data sources to find the job description they're interested in, here they all are now for them in one place. Now, here the user can search on the job code, the job title, the job family, not shown here, possibly even the job level. And basically the end user, employee, the manager can use a look-ahead search facility to find the jobs that they're interested in. And of course, clicking on the job is going to bring up that job description. Perhaps they're looking for career opportunities and want to know more about the requirements and expectations of individuals that are in those jobs. Now, again, if you consider that SuccessFactors and JDMS have been integrated using either families and roles or the job profile builder, then that same content you saw just a moment ago would still be available if the user was looking through at the career worksheet found underneath the development tab. Of course, in that case, it would show up in the SuccessFactors format the way it does today, which would have the exact same content as the JDMS content. They are literally one and the same through the integration. The career worksheet, the performance forms, the competencies used in succession and learning, etc., again, would all be fully integrated with the competency information that was added to the job description in JDMS and then extracted and basically exported to, again, families and roles or job profile builder. Now, with our integrations there again, the access to the job descriptions and the competencies for the recruiting system work exactly as they did before, including the potential use of job code entities and job role tagging, if applicable. So you will find that the creation and the maintenance of your job descriptions is much easier on the JDMS side, however, as all of that data is extrapolated from the description itself. Okay, so now let's take a look at JDMS from the job editor's point of view. You'll notice here underneath the Home tab that there is a link directly to JDMS. Now again, of course, this is managed through role-based permissions. So this would be presented, for example, to your job editors, your job approvers, perhaps your job debiasers, etc. So when I click on that link, we are going to land on the JDMS homepage. JDMS is designed to be very straightforward and easy to learn. It's really structured around three main different areas. The first is the user dashboard. From this page, if we have permission, we have the ability to create jobs. Okay. Very highly configurable system, very similar in that regard to SuccessFactors. For example, the welcome message is updated by your administrator. Certainly there's options here for theming and colors and that sort of thing. So let's focus on the creating of job. So depending on your process, users might create jobs directly from JDMS using our simple job creation feature. However, if your process involves job codes and jobs being started in an external system, or if you're a user that can't create a job, then this particular area would not display at all. Over here, you can see we have some quick dashboards that show us the status of all of the jobs that are in the system. There's 1,240 jobs that are in the system. And below, we have a jobs dashboard, which is then searchable to review all of the jobs that are in various statuses of the various workflows. So each of these areas of the system, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you get a bit of a better view here. Each one of these columns can be searched on, sorted, of course, and when we're looking for specific jobs, then we can simply use the look ahead feature here. And for example, I'm going to search on all the jobs that have assistant director in it. So I've got a number of jobs that fit that criteria. You can see that these jobs, the status are in progress. These are not approved jobs yet. They are in the process of being developed, going through our workflow, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a moment. So one of the features that we can highlight here is this compare jobs feature. This allows you basically to look at jobs that are perhaps similar, perhaps they have been created by different users at different times, perhaps some of the jobs might have been imported or created as a result of another organization. So there's an opportunity here to do some analysis to see if these jobs being comparable actually reflect comparable types of information and appropriate information based on those comparisons. Now, there is no limit to the number of jobs that can be compared at the same time, but if you have too many, then it's sometimes a good idea to export them into an Excel file where further analysis can happen over there. So I'd like to walk you through a workflow type of scenario. Rather than start a job right from scratch, what I've done is I've created a job for us to look at that has just basically started the workflow process. So I'm going to click on this job named HR Director, and we're going to land on the preview screen over here. You can see that we've set up a very simple workflow where we have, after it gets out of draft mode, an editor works on the job. It then goes to some other individual or group of people to do an approval, and then goes to, again, another set of individuals that may be responsible to do a final approval. After that step, of course, the job is completely approved and now available to be exported to SuccessFactors or visible to the employees from the SuccessFactors homepage, as I was just demonstrating to you a moment ago. Let me tell you now a little bit about some of the functionality that's available to your end users that have access to the JDMS system. If they are editors in general, obviously they can print the document. They could potentially email the job description to somebody else for discussion purposes. The copy job can be very valuable to create a new job based on an existing job. So for example, if this was the HR director job and we were creating a job for the HR assistant, if it contained a lot of similar content as we would expect, maybe a subset of the content of the parent job, then that would be a very quick way to create that job and to basically seed it with a starting set of information. We can look at different versions every time the job has been reapproved. A new version is created and presented here. And over on the right-hand side, what you're looking at is the same PDF version of the job description formatting that you saw in its exact format when I was presenting it to you on the SuccessFactors side. Job activity basically is giving us an audit log of all of the activity and who made what changes to the job description and when. Very important for compliance purposes. We can even take a job and send it to somebody who is not in the system. What this feature will do, it'll actually send that individual an email with a link that when followed, they can be presented with the job description within JDMS. They can make comments about whether or not they approve or reject that job description, and based on that result, the job will automatically either go to the next step if approved or the previous step if rejected. And I'm going to show you in a moment our ability to manage the translations, the quick translate feature that we have. To do a translation, we're not enabled to do that on this job at this very moment because this job has not yet been approved. So let's take a look at what the editor sees when they are actually editing the job. The job is divided into a number of different sections, and you can see here with these color-coded letters that this job has been reviewed but not completed. The C, the green C, means that this section has been completed. The P means that it's in progress, and the gray means that it has not been started. So a quick way to envision where we are with the development of this job description. Here in the job information area, again, very highly configurable. Certainly all of the pick lists are obviously configurable, but we can add additional fields as necessary to meet your job requirements. So those could be pick lists, they could be data entry fields, they could be checkboxes, they could be multiple selection fields. You know, there is no limitation as to what we can add in terms of content to match the job information and job description requirements for your business. You'll notice also that there's a link here for the job code and that there's an option here to validate this. So what this would do if I press this button would automatically go over to the Employee Central job code or job classification object and confirm that this job code is in fact a valid job code in SuccessFactors. And if so, it would also validate that the job family and other fields that are associated with your job classification object are in fact aligned with your job description here. So as I move from section to section, I'll just quickly walk through and show you some of the breadth of the different types of information that can be gathered and documented about your job. Obviously, we have the textual job description. If you're using a separate job description for your recruiting purposes, then it's possible to automatically copy the job summary over here to the external summary, and then you may make some changes or additions that are unique for when you're posting that job. A number of different areas of the system use libraries. So job duties here is an example of a very small library. If there's a larger library, then rather than making it simply an area where they can check off things here, there could be a button here that, and I'll show you that in just another example here in a moment, where you can pop up a library and do keyword searches to find the appropriate content. When we look at the competencies, what I've done here is we have imported the SuccessFactors competency library, but certainly we can accommodate any library that you need to import into the SuccessFactors systems for your end users. And we can simply indicate, for example, if the HR director needs to act decisively, then we would add that to the job content, to the job description. And here it is, again, fully loaded with the SuccessFactors job description. Certainly, we can also support behaviors and even target proficiency levels. I haven't shown that here in this demonstration. As we continue to the next section, which is the experience section, here we have an example where there is no library provided, but although, again, a different configuration may allow us to do so. But where the end user basically can identify what the experience needed is, again, they would describe that here, and then would indicate whether that is something that's preferred or required, again, certainly a customizable pick list, and then indicate the amount of time that that experience is required. And again, all customizable pick lists. On the education area, again, we would customize the list of the various degrees and expectations based on the terminology that you use in your job descriptions. We can identify whether a particular degree is preferred or required, and then the end user can edit or complete at their option what kind of a degree is expected for this job at this job level. And there's even an option here to say, in lieu of, equivalent combination of education experience may be considered. So you can see that what we have is a number of different customizable sections that address the different areas of the system, the different areas of your job description, I should say, and the different types of data elements that are relevant. Certifications, again, are an area where a large library can be included. And automatic, we can import those into the JDMS system, available for your job developers to add those to the system. And potentially, if they can't find it in the library, you could also give them permission to enter their own license, their own certification or license as may be required. Now, in this particular case for this job, we have chosen not to use any general skills, you can see, or perhaps we haven't gotten to this area yet. Again, I can click to search a skills library. Again, we might say that we think that PowerPoint is very important for this particular job. Again, simply add it to the system, add it to the job description, and it's available. So we can basically customize as many sections with as much content and different kinds of content and different ways of choosing and defining the content as is necessary to meet your business needs. So now that the job is complete as far as this editor is concerned, they would then move it into the workflow to the next step, All of that information that they did would be recorded in the job activity, and this would be moved on to the approval step. Now, for expediency, I have given myself permission to manage each and every step. But in the real world, you may have different users that have different permissions to different steps. And within that step, while viewing that step, they may be limited or restricted with respect to what fields they can see and or what sections they can see and or edit, all configurable on a workflow by workflow basis. So I'm going to move it now from the approve step to the final approve step. Again, another individual would then be prompted to log in and find the job awaiting their approval. They would review the content of the job description. The quickest way to review it would probably be in this print preview. However, this print preview is designed for external systems. For example, this is the view that we would send to show employees and managers in the SuccessFactors system. However, the actual content that is available to send to external systems, to the recruiting systems, to families and roles or job profile builder was going to be customized based on this information here that we're looking at outside of the print preview. In other words, the print preview is the end user's view. It may be customized to not necessarily contain all of the content that is part of the job description itself and available to your job editors. So once I move the step out of the final approval step, it is now considered to be an approved job. And this job now has the potential, if required, to be translated. So again, your end users that are responsible for the translation activity would either have access to JDMS and log in directly. They would typically have read-only access to only the approved jobs, and they would then basically go into those jobs. I'll bring up the approved jobs over here. We should be able to find the HR director job that we just approved. I'm going to now go in and go into that job and into this manage translations area. So in this configuration, we are supporting these 6 languages, and we have a bit of a mini workflow around the translation activities. So let's say I've got the French translation, or I'm responsible for doing the French translation. I can go now here and translate. And what the system will do is use cognitive services to very quickly, as you can see, translate the entire job description. However, again, no translation system is necessarily 100% accurate. And it's possible that this job description for people being presented in French, for example, or in France, or perhaps in Quebec, may have some other requirements. So the editor has the ability to make changes as necessary to the text in the system, potentially even add a bullet, or potentially remove some content. Again, that is their job as the translator to ensure that it has the appropriate content. Another party, or perhaps the same party, may then have the ability to press the Save and Finalize button. And once finalized, this job content is now available in SuccessFactors through the demonstration that I showed you a moment ago to employees and managers to review this job in their native language. For example, if Christine Dolan had set her language in SuccessFactors to French, when she brought up this job, this is the presentation that she would review. Okay, that's the end of the demonstration. Of course, there's much more we'd like to share with you if we ever have that opportunity. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass things over to Tina to share the Tower story.
Thanks, Colin. Hi, everyone. I'm Tina. I'm the HR Operations Manager at Tower Health. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our journey, where we came from, and how we use JDMS and how we absolutely love this product, and it has made things a lot simpler for us. So to start things off, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who we are. and our backstory, because that actually plays a pretty big role into how we got JDMS. So we are a healthcare system, and we are based in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania near Philadelphia. We have a flagship hospital, which is in Reading. So we currently offer services to over 2.5 million people. We have over 14,000 employees and another 2,200 physicians. There are over 230 locations, and we have 7 hospitals at the moment. And back in 2017, we only had 1 hospital. So in the last few years, we have grown substantially, as you can tell. Like I mentioned, our flagship is Reading Hospital, and that is our teaching hospital. And we are projected, I believe, next year with our partnership with Drexel University to have over 400 residents. And then we also have one of the busiest emergency departments in the state, and last year we were the 10th busiest in the country. So I know most people probably haven't heard of us, but we are rather large. And then in December last year, we actually moved into a new sector and acquired St. Christopher's Hospital for Children, which is new for us, is the Children's Hospital. So in total, we have over 1,400 beds currently. So a few other things about us is we have several outpatient and ambulatory facilities, such as a surgery center and a rehab hospital, which has 62 beds alone. We also are having a behavioral care campus opening up this year with Acadia. We have a large structure of medical group practices and urgent cares, which are growing constantly. And we also have Tower Health at Home, which is one of the nation's largest regional home health and hospice organizations, which is pretty cool. So the reason why I wanted to kind of tell you all these different things that we have is when you have that big of a variety, you have a lot of different job descriptions, which comes with a slew of issues of keeping track of them. And as we've grown, just trying to get all the right people in a streamlined process. So some of our challenges. So back in 2017 is when we decided to grow, and we went from Reading Health System to Tower Health. We had 1 hospital with the medical group and the rehab to buying 5 hospitals, just boom, overnight. And we became Tower Health. So we already had some issues with our job descriptions previous to that. We had no process or system to house them. They were mainly just Word documents that if somebody wanted one, they would ask us and we would send it to them and hope that they would track changes when they send it back to us so we knew what they were updating. We were just growing and getting more job titles. People wanted things differently, even though there'd be the same title at the different hospitals. They were positive that the other hospital did things differently, and they needed a different job description. So a lot of the times we even had jobs created in the system, and we never got the actual job description given to us. And I don't know if anyone else ever runs into those issues, but it does not make audits fun at all. Because last minute, you're scrambling around trying to find a job description that you're like, how is this person in this job for the last 3 months, but I don't have a job description for it? So those are just some of the issues that we kept running into, and it was just becoming more and more painful. So I hope you guys feel some of my pain with that one. So what we ended up doing is me and one of my colleagues, we started going to Success Connect. And we would walk around and just kind of check out all the different vendors, which is how we came across HRIZONS. And I want to say it probably took a year or two until we really got the buy-in and got it off the ground to get JDMS. We were intrigued and we knew we had some problems on our end with job description, but we weren't really sure what to do, and then also getting that buy-in and the budget to do so, because nobody really cares about job descriptions until they need to care about job descriptions. So it's one of those like forgotten things that people don't always want to throw money at. So we finally got over all those hurdles and we got the buy-in, and we just started to work on implementing it. And that's kind of when things got interesting for us. It took us a while to implement it. I went and had a baby. My manager left the organization. We bought some more stuff. And it took a really long time to implement our JDMS system for Tower Health. And to be honest, it's actually not 100% completely rolled out to everybody yet, but for those that it is, they could not be more grateful. So it has solved almost every issue that I have told you on the previous slides. We have been able to create a process and streamline it and track it, which has just made things so much easier for not only us as the admins, but our managers and even our end users of the staff members, because they have access now to their updated job descriptions whenever they would like. All they have to do is log in to SuccessFactors and boom. I love that it's integrated so they don't need to remember another login, just like Colin mentioned earlier. So not only can they get to it quicker, staff can see their job descriptions whenever they would like, but we've created this process and this workflow. We were able to get our compensation team included right into the workflow as well, and it's created this harmony between my team and the compensation team for when pay grades need to be looked at or a new job has to be created. It really has just the collaboration. We also, to roll it out, we kind of teased our management team with some teasers out in the communication, telling them some things were coming along and calling it spring cleaning because we ended up rolling out in the spring. And it really piqued their interest. And then we did an in-depth training session where they came to us and we did it in person. And we walked them through it and we prepped them for it. And we had very, very high attendance and engagement. And I have never seen a system at our organization take off so quickly with such high adoption rates. The management team are just happy that they are able to see what they want, play around with it, get almost immediate results, and just know where it stands instead of saying, oh, well, I sent this to so-and-so 3 months ago. Well, you didn't send it to the right person. But now it's through a system, it's tracked, and it works. So we evolved from no process to a completely structured process with a higher satisfaction and the buy-in from everybody. So that's pretty much our story in a nutshell.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Before we kick off today's Q&A session, I ask that everyone please fill out the feedback form that is docked on the right-hand side of your computer. To complete this form, please press Submit at the bottom of the survey. Now for the Q&A portion of our event. As a reminder, to participate in the Q&A, just type your question into the text box located below the slide window and then click Submit. Rajiv, I'll hand things back over to you to kick that off.
Sure. I'm seeing some of the questions come in. The first one is for Tina. Tina, are you there? The question is, how did you go about, or did you do something special for to have the employees at Tower Health adopt this JDMS solution?
So
what did you do to roll it out?
So when we rolled it out, we tried to build up some excitement. We teased them with a few sliders, like we have a sliding banner on our intranet site, and it was more of a teaser. We didn't quite tell them what was coming, so it just was like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? And then we started a few weeks later with some email blasts going out. And then we set up training sessions, and we really just were honest with the leadership. We had over 253 managers attend our physical sessions, which is actually pretty impressive. And they were hour-long sessions. We had a few slides just to kind of give them the background of what they were going to walk away with. And then we demoed through both workflows, which is to create one from scratch, and then how to edit one. So we also, on top of that, had a learning video that if you were unable to attend or you needed a refresher as well, that you could go into our learning module, and this would be in there in the catalog to watch whenever they would like. And that had a lot of hits as well. So we also had a lot of cutoffs where it was like, you can't do it the old way anymore. So we really tried to make it fun, and they were just very grateful because it was something we needed.
Cool. And just continuing that thought, what you talked about, that it took longer to implement because of the personal side of things and the management change. But if you were to remove those aspects, how long did it take you to implement once you decided to go ahead, and with where you are at? Because you said you are still working on it. You are still rolling out some portions of it.
So we have implemented it at our main facilities, our largest one, so Reading Hospital. That's the bulk of our employees and the bulk of our jobs. So that is the one that we are live at and fully functioning. And if you would have taken everything else out of the equation, I would have said maybe 6 months. Our job descriptions were kind of unique, so we were kind of needy and needed some special attention. But it was pretty painless, and it was very smooth. It was us that kind of made it not. So, and I think once we get the other hospitals fully integrated and on there, that's going to go super quick once we start that piece.
Cool. Thank you. The next question is for Colin. Colin, this attendee is asking, what other tools and softwares are needed to run your tool successfully and seamlessly?
Well, there's no prerequisite tools. Certainly, if you have the ability to take any existing job content that you have and separate that into some spreadsheets so that we can import that into the JDMS system, that becomes basically the groundwork to have that common content available in libraries for each one of those sections. So that sometimes can be a challenge if you are, needing to get that information out of any existing job descriptions. We have a number of clients who actually do the initiation of the job title and job codes from importing it from a separate system, and then build the job descriptions from scratch. I was just actually working with a client this year who had really created a remarkable spreadsheet where they would take their job description information and put it into what they created, a standardized spreadsheet where it was all broken out in various sections. And then what would happen is as their staff filled out those spreadsheets, it automatically got split out into the individual content for each section of a job description as they had defined it. So that really expedited the process for creating the base of job descriptions off of their current content. Of course, once imported, that information wasn't immediately approved. It still needed to go through a workflow, an approval process, because of course we're again doing a migration here, and it needs to be validated. But I can't really think of any other specific tools that are necessary. Obviously, everything else that really happens between JDMS and SuccessFactors is already built in as part of those products. So, thanks.
Oh, thanks. The next question for you, Colin, is: does this tool generate the job description based on a set of questions or similar criteria, or do you have like a big repository, and that's where you go from?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by a set of questions. Again, most organizations try to populate libraries of things like competencies and experiences and skills, et cetera, so that the library becomes a question to the job builder, the job editor, to determine whether or not that is appropriate content for the job that they're building.
Got it. Oh, another question just came in. How long does it take to implement JDMS tool for organization with approximately 300 to 400 jobs?
Yeah, our standard implementation follows a very well thought through and well practiced methodology of 3 iterations. It's actually quite similar to the iterative process that we use to implement SuccessFactors modules. And basically the amount of time usually varies from about 20 to 24 weeks. And that is really not so much dependent upon the number of jobs that is created in total. Obviously, the total number of jobs may, in fact, grow over time after you initially go live. But the process is pretty much standard to get through to the point of project kickoff to go live. It also helps if there is some standardization in terms of how, in the new system, all of those jobs need to be laid out, and what kind of content needs to go into what kind of sections, and how those sections might be combined in the presentation of the PDF version and that sort of thing. What we found is that organizations that are starting from a beginning point where they've already done some standardization can get through the process a little bit faster. Otherwise, we end up spending a little bit of the time up front trying to help build that standardization. Now, it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing, because if you have the system and the methodology, then it can help you sort of build the standards. And yet, if you have, prior to looking for a system, already built those standards, then we can certainly take advantage of whatever work has been done to that date.
Just comment for the audience. There are several other questions which are asked, and one of our other moderators has been answering them. So please feel free to go in the Q&A section and read those. One last question so far for you, Colin, is when comparing jobs, do I have merge capabilities or identify duplicates in the system?
Yeah, so I did not actually show you the merge capability, but it was part of the copy capability. You can literally copy just individual sections from one job to another. And therefore, if you identified through reports or through the comparative demonstration that I showed you, and identify an area that should be actually matched to the same area from another job, then yes, you can take that area or even multiple areas at a time and copy them from one job to another.
Okay, cool. Yeah, with that, we have answered all the questions. Yeah, please go ahead and check in the text section of Q&A also. There are a few other questions which we didn't get to ask live here are answered there. Brittany, do you have any closing comments? Otherwise, from my side, I would like to sincerely thank Colin and Tina for sharing their expertise.
Yes, thank you so much, Rajiv, and thank you, Colin and Tina. If we did not get to your question live, someone will follow up with you within the next few business days. Colin and Tina, is there anything else you'd like to add before I wrap things up?
Colin here, just maybe a quick comment. I noticed one of the questions was about JDMS having a workflow, and I obviously did show how a simple workflow can be configured. I did want to highlight the fact that we can actually support multiple workflows of various complexity, and different types of jobs may use different workflows. Obviously, from a best practice, we would try to limit the number of different workflows simply from to keep the administrative burden and the end user's experience to be as simple as possible. But I just thought I'd jump in there because I don't think I clearly answered the workflow question in the demonstration. But no, I don't have anything else. I just want to thank everybody for their time and attention. Really appreciate it.
And the slide which is on the screen shows the contacts of all the 3 speakers, and bottom right shows the URL for the SAP App Center. So yeah, please go and browse around and see what your business needs are and contact the supporting partners.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Tomorrow you will receive an email reminder to access this presentation on demand. On behalf of SAPinsider and our guests at HRIZONS, Tower Health, and SAP, thank you for your time and have a wonderful day, everyone. Okay, we're no longer recording.
All right. Who else is here? Can you hear me, Brittany?
I was going to say I just unmuted everyone. Sorry.
That went really well.
Yeah, we got so many questions. That's excellent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of engagement.